I look at the financial opportunity, the growth with the industry, starting with a broom and ending up as the CEO of your own business, and everything that entails, and even the doesn't have to become the owner of a business to do really, really well in our industry. And then I sort of layer on top of that this idea that you're going to be able to work as a journeyman electrician for a very long time without having to worry about a robot or an AI or something like that taking that job away from you, and the meaning that comes with that and the opportunity for your family that comes with that. How do we share that message? How do we get that out there?
Well, I mean, it's the reason that at CCA we added an individual as a director of workforce strategies. And, I can see that side of our organization growing because we needed somebody who was engaging directly in the challenge, not only just to see what was wrong, but also to understand all the different ways in which we could change that. And so we introduced Honor the Work, the grades 1 through 6 curriculum program that puts construction-oriented curriculum in front of kids from grade 1 right up to grade 6 that meets all the requirements of the provincial curriculum needs, but let's learn about science by connecting pipes and understand the dynamic flow of water because you actually constructed a plumbing installation. Or connect wires and have a light bulb go off and learn about electricity whilst being an electrician. And then have age-appropriate reading material that really puts a narrative with builders right in the middle of it. We started our Adopt-a-Shop program, where industry is able to adopt a school shop because we recognized school shops were frequently losing funding, if not being defunded altogether. And school shop is an important place for young kids to connect with the fact that they like to build stuff. And so we've been doing programs like that to try and really almost create an intervention in that flow. And I think that that's what it takes. We're currently planning the teachers' convention here coming up next month. And rather than just have a construction booth going, yay, construction, we actually are creating a 4-stop experience where you can engage with the design side of our industry and the fact that people have to design the buildings and engage in architecture and interiors and engineering. Then we go into the pre-construction where you have estimators and project managers starting to build schedules and plan. And then you go into the site, which is site supervision, all the trades that have to build it. And then final stop is long-term operation and maintenance of these buildings. That opens up an incredible list of not only different career paths, but maybe how you could start in one and maybe find yourself transitioned through a number of different parts of that equation. And that's what a 40-year, 45-year career looks like.
And you're really making it hands-on for everybody to understand what that. And so you're starting young. You're starting in the classroom. That's where you think you've got to capture people is at a young age to understand that this is a viable career path for them.
Well, what we realized from, we as you know, we did the Career Expo for 13 years. We got a bunch of high school kids. We paid for busing. We paid for substitute teachers, and we got all these different industries to come in and demonstrate their work. And we had as many as 2,300 kids spend a day hands-on with industry. But what we began to believe was if we focus on high school, we're too late, especially today's world. A high school kid may not have decided exactly what they want to do yet, but they've probably decided what they don't want to do.
Yeah.
They've probably bought into the fact that construction, that's for people that aren't that smart, or whatever stereotypical stigma-based way of thinking. And their parents have bought into that too. And their teachers bought into that. And so it's too late. What we realized we needed to do was find a way for a grade 3 kid to be hands-on with something and their parents and their teachers watching the light in that kid's eyes when they're doing that, and then maybe comparing it to what the kid is like in the midst of some academic exercise and go, my kid isn't a natural academic, but they're on fire when they're doing this.
Right.
So maybe I need to be more supportive of a career that would align with what they fit rather than force them into the wrong-shaped hole so they go through the process, end up with a bunch of student debt, and very often come back to construction to pay their student debt. The average age of a first-year apprentice in Canada is 27 or 28 years old.
So they've tried a couple of different things before they've made that decision to come and try it, as opposed to capturing them right outside of high school where they've got that much more runway in their career as well, right? So, I mean, all of this sounds like you're hopeful for the future of the construction industry. Is that a fair thing to say?
I think so. I mean, you know, we tend to be an industry, we're a bit like farmers. You know, it's either raining too much or not raining enough.
That's right. Yeah.
We're never happy. There's never just the right amount of work. It's like, are you busy? Yeah, I could be busier, or I'm swamped.
I'm too busy.
I'm never just nailing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, well, especially in Calgary, because the growth that we've seen in Calgary and the trajectory we're on population-wise, but the city building projects that are underway right now that will literally change the quality of life for Calgarians, the new event centre, the redevelopment of Arts Commons and Olympic Plaza, the Glenbow Museum, the large development out in the far southeast called Prairie Gateway, which will have rail links all the way to Mexico. That is a partnership between Rocky View County and the city of Calgary and CPKC Rail, which will put manufacturing and distribution and on a scale that will continue to create economic diversification. We've got $15 to $20 billion worth of major projects in Calgary right now that are either in the ground, or if they all happen, will break ground in the next 3 to 5 years. LRT, public realm, none of them are office buildings, which was our normal. And all of these are happening when a barrel of oil is less than $60. This is not our traditional sort of short-term 3 to 5 year make hay while the sun shines oil and gas fueled boom. This is 10 to 15 years of sustained development and growth that will change the skyline of Calgary. And what I always tell kids and try and get across, it's when you drive by the buildings that you worked on.
Yeah.
It's when you see the places. And that's one of the stories I want us to find ways to tell. Have interviews with the men and women who built the BMO, the men and women who are building the event centre, the men and women who worked on the Glenbow, and have these stories and watching the pride that they have in having been a part of that.
There's nothing like the sense of satisfaction you get. I mean, for one, driving down the street and looking at a building and say, I worked on that. But even just going from a site from 1 week to the next to see the progress that takes place, whether it's, in my case, like as a trade, seeing our work, or even the work of other trades, because you look up and you go, my God, look at the woodwork they're doing up on the ceiling, or my God, look at the exterior of this building. There's a sense of pride you get as being part of just any project and seeing it come to fruition, right? So what about the future of the industry itself? What's a successful or a winning construction company going to look like? What are they going to be doing in 10 years? How does AI and automation and robotics and all of this stuff that everybody sort of talks about endlessly fit into what a winning GC or subcontractor is going to be doing in, say, 10 years' time?
Well, I think the rate of change that, we've seen up until now, and our industry's been a little slow, and not willingly out of choice, but naturally out of lack of margin. This is again a product of that race to the bottom.
Yeah.
How do you have an R&D budget when you can barely maintain margins because of the race to the bottom pricing that's been thrust upon you? But I do think organizations that are going to be successful moving forward, they're going to place a different level of value and investment in their human capital. They're going to think about return on people, not just return on investment. Invest in the people, and it's the people you get the return from, because we are a people business.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe you're going to have to make definite decisions about how you will integrate with emerging technologies and be willing to make that a continuous thing, because it will continue to evolve. But I do think you have to have an informed approach, or you will continue to get suckered into jumping on technology for the sake of it, and then regretting it and being reluctant to do it again, which will actually put you behind the process. I mean, right now, AI is the buzzword. It's all the noise. But I believe, and we're trying to build a program within CCA, leaders of organizations need to invest in finding their on-ramp onto AI.
Yep.
As leaders, find a way to get in a room with somebody who can take the buzzwords out of it, demystify it, help you understand your on-ramp. What are the governance steps I need to put in place to be sure that, the AI work we're doing is not informing the model, or our proprietary information is not actually now out there for somebody else to grab. Then invest in maybe the training for how do I implement, what's the change management, and then pick maybe one part of your business to try AI on. Don't try and do it across the ground everywhere. Find one aspect of your business and really focus on optimizing AI's ability to impact that. Learn from that and then spread it. And I do believe that's, going to be a factor moving forward. And then I do think learning how to say no to bad work,
Yeah.
the toughest skill I ever had to learn. I'm not sure if I ever really mastered it because, I was in sales and business development, and say no to a perfectly good job until you realize it wasn't really it was a good job, but it wasn't perfect. I think being selective and realizing, as one of my former bosses said, volume is vanity, but profit is sanity. And really being a business that builds, not just a construction firm that chases work.
Those are sage words.